What's going on, y'all? Today I'm going to be talking about top 10 One Piece characters. I take that back. They're my favorite One Piece characters. Let's keep it a buck. There's no real way to rank all the characters objectively. So, subjectively, let's do it. I know a lot of people usually go 10th place, 9th place, 8th place, all the way up to 1st place, but I'm going to do the opposite. So, number 1 on the board, we got Straw Hat Mugiwara no Monkey D. Luffy. He's definitely my favorite character, mainly because I guess the writer of One Piece, he made it that way. It's really not my fault. He is a genius when it comes to writing main characters. I'd say the one thing that got me to find Luffy as my favorite would probably be his decisions when building his crew. He said he didn't need too many people on his ship, only 10 people that he could trust, and he's getting there. The question is, who will the 10th member be? There are definitely more than a few impactful action sequences that he's been in where he just makes me like him even more. Besides my favorite earlier action scene with Luffy slamming Richie the Lion to the ground, a good notable scene that made me like his character even more was when he couldn't handle Vivi being taken away by the big bad in Alabasta. So he takes the hook and flies back to meet the big bad instead of Vivi. While in the air, he puts his utmost faith in his crew because he believes that they'll get the job done, just as they hope and pray that he'll end up getting his job done. And once he gets to the big bad, he lands on the sand and goes all out. You know, he thinks he's gonna get the job done. He puts his heart and soul into making sure he can win this fight. And you know, the first time seeing that scene, my heart was pounding. And I'd say that his character is just so awe-inspiring, where he just wants freedom for all, along with the fact that he doesn't want to be a hero. He just wants to live life to the fullest while not impeding in anyone else's dreams, as long as they're not vile and unfair. And of course, you can't dislike any of his moveset when it comes to fighting. His second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and his 3 different modes in fourth gear. And of course his ability with Haki. He is an all-around powerhouse and he's going to continue to get stronger. Now, ranking at number 2, we've got Pirate Hunter Roanoa Zoro. Zoro is just an all-around badass. He is the most phenomenal support character in the entire series, in my opinion, as well as if you include all of anime, he's definitely top 4, if not top 3. He's always got his captain's back, and he's always got the safety of his crew in his mind. He's always ready to go and do whatever because he's got a very similar take on life to Luffy. One thing that keeps me continuously admiring Zoro is that he's very aware of his situation. He is very aware of the position he is in at all times, even when he's sleeping. Another thing is that he's always challenging himself, trying to one-up the next best, as long as he's contributing it to becoming the world's greatest swordsman. There's even a scene when he goes up against a man named Brahm on God's Land, trying to conjure and perfect a flying sword technique, which is that's unbelievable thinking. He just cut steel the last arc, but he never loses sight of his goal, and he wants to help himself achieve his goal by doing little things that will affect him in the long run. And perfecting a flying sword strike, that'll do it. And of course, you can't hate on the 3-sword style. You know, of course, personally, I thought that it was absolutely moronic that he would have 3 swords, but he's proven me wrong time and time again. And these 2 have been at the top of my list for a while now, so I can't really say when they ascended because they've never been low. And now we've got number 3, Humming Soul King Brook. Now Brook, I know, hasn't really been top 10 favorite characters for most people up until Whole Cake Island. For me personally though, I enjoyed him severely post the Sabaody arc when the Straw Hats end up getting separated. He not only has a cult end up worshipping him, and he's like, no, you got it wrong, no, it can't be me. He ends up finding the real issues of the land and ends up helping the cultists figure out how to fight for themselves instead of just, praying to nobody, hoping somebody comes and drops down to save them. And the way he did it was pretty brilliant, if you ask me. He doesn't just keep talking to them because, they're not trying to hear it. They think he's Satan. So, do your thing. Help us out. We'll give you anything in return. So, in exchange for some men's underwear, he plays a song that ends up rejuvenating the cult and gives them enough strength to fend for themselves. And it was pretty amazing to me, personally. And ever since that, he's been top 10 for sure. His little moments here and there, and Fishman Island, when he ends up becoming a literal phantom and goes to search for help, goes to search for a way out, to Punk Hazard, where he is keeping up with Zoro and Kinemon as swordsmen with his ice sword and his fencing style swordplay. Brook has been a GOAT for a long time, and just to see that he is having an adventure, having fun after being alone for 50 years. 50 years? Do you know how long that has to be absolutely traumatizing for someone? Being alone for 50 years, finally getting back into civilization, he can't even act right? Who cares? He's having fun. He's old. Old people don't care. They do what they want. Personally, Brook is top 3, easily. Now, number 4, we've got Panda Man. Just kidding. It is the king of snipers, Sniper King, Soul God King, God Usopp. Usopp has had the most tremendous glow up I've seen in, I'd say, the entire series. Arguably against a couple others, but his is phenomenal. He's the character that most portrays what most people are thinking when they're in the situations that the Straw Hats get into. And that makes him too relatable. Not many people would have been able to keep up with the Straw Hats up until Water 7 like he did. I think most people would have fallen off during the Alabasta arc, if not prior. Yet and still he's been able to hold his own while being true to his true self. Usopp is ready to go at all times with something in his pocket, ready to rumble, because he understands his weaknesses more so than anybody else. And of course, most people, like me, strongly disliked his slingshot, wanting him to upgrade to a pistol, but I've sort of grown accustomed to it ever since Eni's lobby, all the way up until now where he's got his trusty Kabuto weapon. And of course, now that he's got his observation hockey that he developed in Dressrosa, he is pretty much top 5 snipers in all of One Piece. He's got to be, probably below Yasopp and Blackbeard's sniper, Ogre. The only thing I wish Usopp would do more would be to snipe consistently rather than being out in the open. I wish he would find cover, snipe, move to the next location, snipe, move to the next location, snipe. But he's always in the forefront, which makes me wish that he had some better close combat skills. But who's to say One Piece won't go on long enough for him to develop phenomenal close combat techniques. And Usopp had been at the bottom of my list, I'd say, up until he got his shine in Punk Hazard, where he took down Buffalo and Baby 5. That was his sniper instincts kicking in and him doing his job for the crew. Number 5 on my list is Knight of the Sea, First Son of the Sea, Jinbe.
That's really not cool that you got your top 5 being actual Straw Hat members. Branch out a little bit more.
I really would, but I've grown accustomed to these guys. Anyway, back to Jinbe. He is a character that has been the rock for Luffy ever since he was introduced and impelled down. He also is a fishman, which makes him already top tier. He's also got a strong principle when it comes to protecting those that cannot protect themselves, and his respect for others that do their very best while also helping others. And he also just has phenomenal manners, unlike our Monkey D. Luffy, who goes around nicknaming anybody he wishes, as well as eating anything he sees without asking first, which makes him a phenomenal, essential 9th member of the Straw Hat crew. I, of course, enjoy his fishman karate, and I wish that we get a little bit more of it, which I'm sure that we will, as the chapters and the anime episodes increase. But, and I'd say Jinbe has been a favorite for sure, but he hadn't been high up on the list up until, I'd say, Whole Cake Island. And I think he definitely hit the top 5 when he bowed his head to Big Mom and said, "Thank you for your assistance up until this point. However, I'm going to go join the King of the Pirates," because because, you know, guess what? He's the king of the pirates. And he completely blocked Big Mom's life or stay because he has no fear in anyone that is not the king of the pirates. Moving at number 6, we've got Demon Child, Light of the Revolution, Nico Robin. Yes, that's 6 members that are in my top 6 of the Straw Hat crew. Anyway, Robin is an interesting character. We don't get too much of her thoughts in her mind, but we understand her backstory more so than many other Straw Hats. And I think that's why I grow accustomed to her, as well as the fact that she is extremely useful when it comes to tactical situations and knowing just so much lore about the world, even though she doesn't reveal it all. Because we know Luffy, as the main character, has a horrible attention span, so he wouldn't be able to grasp much of it. But she's completely aware of the status of people, as well as the status of countries that she visits, as well as the status of the world government. Because she likes to read, which, you know, you gotta have a friend that likes to read, or if you like to read yourself, you know, knowledge is key. And of course, her devil fruit is absolutely broken and would continue to be broken if she learned hockey and adapted that to her devil fruit. But we can't have everyone being a powerhouse because we've already got a phenomenal monster trio. I'd say Robin has been at the top 20 of my list ever since she joined the crew, top 10 ever since Indy's Lobby, and she's been working her way up to number 6. But speaking of monster trio, number 7 is my man Black Leg Vinsmoke Sanji. Sanji is a character I've had an on and off relationship with when it comes to seeing his performance in the show. He was definitely top 5 for the longest amount of time, I would say up until post Sabaody. Post Sabaody, he started to dip back into the top 20s, top 30s, because he just wasn't performing at the level I saw Luffy and Zoro performing at. But that does not make him less of a character, that just makes him less of my favorite. He wasn't going crazy when it came to fighting in Fishman Island because he had a double team, that giant fish thing they call Wadatsumi with Jinbe. He didn't get a 101 then, and then when he did get his 101s in Punk Hazard, he was completely overpowered, as well as his bouts during the Dressrosa arc, he was also completely overpowered. Though, personally, I think Sanji would be able to take down Pika, though that's an argument other people might not want to make, or they would want to oppose. Anyway, Sanji definitely had to shine in Zou because he was the leader of the broken off splinter group of the Straw Hats for the time being, and he definitely took charge and handled the situation phenomenally, better than I think anyone lower on the strength list, excluding Jinbe. But of course, at that time, Jinbe was not a part of the crew. He definitely climbed the ranks during the whole Cake Island arc, and has definitely been in the top 7 during Wano. And I don't think he's gonna drop below the top 7 anytime soon because well, if you read the manga,
you already know what it is.
And I should say, I've always loved Sanji's way of fighting. His kicks always hit hard, especially when he developed Diable Jambe, and how absolutely energetic his attacks are every single time he lands them. And of course, no spoilers, but for the manga readers. Anyway, moving on to top 8, we've got the man, the legend, Bentham of the Wild, Mr. 2 Bon Clay. I know a lot of people wouldn't have Bon Clay on their top 10 list, but you know, Bon Clay has just done so much for the story. And he's just an overall good guy. I don't know his backstory too much, but I know he's gotten caught up in some mischief, as we've seen him going up against your boy Sanji, and then finally losing and basically conceding all of his ill ways, saving the Straw Hat crew, going to Impel Down, saving Luffy again in Impel Down, along with Jinbe, Crocodile, Ivankov, and a slew of prisoners. Who knows what's going on with that kid right now, though I'm certain that he's probably below level 3 like he wasn't in Impel Down at the beginning. He's probably level 4, level 5, or hopefully he escaped into level 5.5 and has just been chilling in there for a long time, because otherwise I would feel absolutely awful. He, of course, was way lower on probably the top 100s for a long time up until Impel Down. But ever since Impel Down, he has stayed in the top 10, and I don't think he's going to drop below the top 10 anytime soon. He's super resourceful, he's super helpful, he is a phenomenal friend and ally, especially if he actually gives a damn about you. And overall, his trust in his abilities to not be scared and to go for it every single time, that's just got to be admired. Moving on, as this video is taking absolutely far too long, even though you've got only 2 seats left, we've got number 9, our boy, Charlotte Katakuri. Katakuri, let me just get this off my chest at the beginning right here, right now. I've been reading the manga, I watched the anime, and I thought the anime was going to do this differently. I've heard other people's takes on it, I've seen reviews on YouTube, and I'd have to say, I wish that the Luffy versus Katakuri fight ended in a draw. If it had ended in a draw, I would have been absolutely satisfied. They both could have fallen at the same time, passed out, and then, like in the actual series, Peckham's came and rescued Luffy, but Luffy should have stayed passed out in my opinion throughout this entire endeavor of getting him off of the island along with the rest of the crew. But it does not mean that I absolutely despise the decision to have Luffy beat Katakuri and have that be his dub in Whole Cake Island. I think that Katakuri's introduction was absolutely masterfully done. I was terrified of him from the beginning up until present day. I'm still terrified of that kid. He has a future sight. 2 people in the series at this point we know have future sight. Him and of course Luffy after he developed it during his fight. And Katakuri's backstory is also very scary. I like his character because he is extremely honorable and he will do anything to protect his siblings, unlike his mother. His mother does not really care about her kids at all. She really is just out to become the queen of the pirates, king of the pirates, whichever version you want to go with, and she'll use her kids to her advantage in any way possible. She has no remorse that way. Katakuri also just has a phenomenal design. I wish that I knew exactly what type of mixture of human he was, because that's a pretty sweet set of fangs if you ask me. Also, that long behind scarf, absolutely unnecessary, but it gets the point across pretty well how badass he is. And of course, his devil fruit is absolutely terrifying. And at number 10, I'm certain people would not guess this, we've got Blue Pheasant Aokiji Kuzan. Now, Aokiji, I'm going to call him that instead of Kuzan just because that's how I was introduced to him as. Aokiji is easily my favorite admiral. He is my favorite marine, followed closely by Kobe, Garp, and Smoker. Not in that order. Aokiji did something for the story that I think a lot of people either underestimate or just overlook in general. He set the stakes for what was to come post Skypiea. Because what was really going on was, we thought Luffy was invincible up until Alabasta, and then we realized there are devil fruits that are just unbeatable because they're Logias. And then we get Inaru, and we realized Luffy had type advantage and banged on him. And then we got Aokiji post Skypiea. Luffy stood no chance. It really put into perspective how deadly the Navy was, and how Luffy, even though he challenged the world government and beat the CP9 agents, he really can't beat the world government outright with his fighters. Aokiji, he also has a phenomenal sense of morality that I think is underappreciated as well. He really did feel something for his friend Saul, but knew he had to do his duty. And he really did want the best for Robin, even though obviously she was an enemy of the world. You know, they got the enemy of the state, Robin was the enemy of the world. And I think that I should have seen Aokiji versus a.k.a. I should have seen it, because that had to have been an awesome display of Logias at their peak, along with hockey masters. Those 2 knew hockey. How else were they supposed to block that stupid move? And I mean stupid in the most endearing sense, by Whitebeard. And of course, I absolutely love his Ice Time and Ice Age and all of his ice moves, because, you know, that fruit is broken. Now that's my top 10 list, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I know for a good portion of it, it was super generic and everyone's got them in their top 5, top 7. But, you know, I think after Sanji, those are some anomalies. Maybe not Katakuri. And here's some honorable mentions. We got Corazon, Ryuma, and Vertigo-san. They didn't make the top 10, but they're still phenomenal. The one thing I do wish that my boy, the author of One Piece, did was have some more female characters that I could connect with, other than Robin. Nami is of course awesome, but she doesn't make the top 20. But we've got somebody in the wings. If you're caught up on the Wano arc in the anime and or the manga, your girl Yamato might make it. I'd say she's definitely top 30 at this point. And if we get that backstory fleshed out, she might make it into the top 20 We'll see. Anyway, that'll do it for me. I hope to see you all in another video. Please like, comment if you think my list is generic as I think, or definitely more of an outcast perspective. And of course, let me know your top 10 and why they are your top 10. And also subscribe because I'm putting out more videos day in and day out. So I'll see you in another one. Deuces.
Bye bye.